This is the MGTOW Infinium here with another Infinium short take. This Infinium short take is entitled The Table. Now, my MGTOW brothers, a few days ago, I was listening to, I believe it was Casual Bachelor, and he had on this woman, and he was doing an analysis video of her speech or what she was talking about. And what she was talking about was that she was the table and that we men must bring to the table our wares, our capabilities to quote unquote fill out the table, to put the placements, that type of thing, on the table. And a few months I have been, I would say in the past few months, I have been listening to these women and their explanations about what they feel the table is and what they can and cannot do, and how we men must acquiesce to what they want. I came to the realization that many women do not understand the construct of the table when it comes to we men as well as we MGTOW men. Now, the construct of the table is this. It is not, as this woman was saying, a banqueting table. It is a table which allows for a common ground for two entities to do a transaction. So, say for instance, in my IT days, when we began to change systems or to do an upgrade or something like that, a vendor would come in and we would all sit down on a table, and we, as clients of that vendor or possible clients of that vendor, would detail our needs, our wants, our standards, and the vendor would then detail what they could do to meet those needs, those standards, our wants. And in this process, the table was our table. So, for instance, we were a business or whatever, and our table was our table. They came to our table to try to sell us something. So that construct can be applied here as well. The table that we men talk about is the same type of platform by which women come to us and present what they can or cannot do for us, what their standards are, what they have to offer. And likewise, like our system example, we men had ownership of the table. We presented the standards, the needs, the wants that we had. And if, for instance, women could not or did not want to meet that need, we men had the right to reject them from our table. So again, what this woman was saying was totally illogical. It was delusional at best, because again, it was a failure on her part to understand what that table is. Again, we men, when it comes to our lives, when it comes to our resources, our just everything about us, we have ownership of that table. Women, in this case, are not the table. We men, again, have that table and we have ownership of that table. And again, as in the example of the system buyer, the client that want to purchase a system, a possible system, we men have the right to set standards, to set needs, to say that this is what you can, this is what you cannot do at that table. And we also have the right as men to say automatic rejection from that table if it is the case of no cohabitation with women or no marriage with women. It is an automatic reject from that table. They can't even come to the table. Now, again, if we allow women to come to the table, they must come to that table with something of value, with something that is going to aid our lives, to make our lives better. And women, on the other hand, because of their lack of understanding of that table or what they can bring to the table, have it in their mindsets that they can come to the table with a desire to make us slaves, a desire to take away our resources, to lock us down, to do anything to us willy-nilly, to destroy our lives, for instance. All of which, again, we as men have a right to reject that. And that rejection, my brothers, is causing a lot of consternation among women. They are running around. We men must open up our hearts. We don't have the right to say no. We don't have the right to say that we will not be resources. We will not be slaves to a single mother with her health spawns. With all these things, my brothers. But again, that construct of our table gives us the right. And furthermore, as MGTOW men, the MGTOW philosophy only enhances that construct of the table because it really raises the bar of standards by which not only we live by, but women, if we allow them to come to our table, must come up to that standard. And that standard is that we will not be slaves. We will not be the resource bearer where they can plunder and take away from us. We will not be the type of thing where we're running around with a single mother, state to state, with her house bonds, having to deal with her previous husbands who are fighting her over custody and child support, that type of thing. We will not be those things. And also, it raises the bar again by which we live. And one of the things that women are having difficulty with that bar is the area of trustworthiness. We men now demand trustworthiness of them. And from what I can see, my brothers, and what I have been analyzing and looking at for all these years, women do not want to bring anything of any substance in the area of trustworthiness to our tables. And so again, it is resulting in rejection from our tables, either automatic or if it is we do talk to them, that transaction often fails for women because we cannot trust them anymore. But my brothers, again, it is shocking to me that when these women, like the one that was on Casual Bachelor's vid, they talk about the table in such a way that they are the table. We men must come to their table. We must do what they want us to do. It is shocking to me, my brothers, when I hear these things, and how in certain cases they are delusional when they talk about these things. They cannot understand that the reasoning for their rejection from our tables is because of these things. It is because of their lack of willingness to come to our tables, which again, we as men, and furthermore, we as MGTOW men have possession of those tables. The tables that these women come to, we men have possession of it. It is not the prerogative of the woman to say and demand what she wants of us at that standpoint. That's the same thing if you go back to the example of the system buyer uh, and the system seller, and the seller is demanding that the system buyer do this, do that, do this, do that. That is an automatic rejection. And I'll put it this way. I'll give an example of a business that failed when they did something to try to force people to buy what they thought was good for them. It was Microsoft. And Microsoft produced an operating system called Windows 8. Windows 8 was basically Microsoft's idea of how the computing world should go. They did not talk to any of the professionals out there that are using computers. They did not talk to users. They just put this thing out there and demanded that we users use this operating system, which basically stank. And basically, Microsoft was coming to our tables and telling us what to do, and that was a bad move. It was so bad that Microsoft basically, for a while, tanked the computing industry because Windows 8 was so bad. And on top of that, anybody that criticized Windows 8, like me, Microsoft came after. And for myself personally, I had put out some comments on some certain technical websites about Windows 8. And for a year, a couple of Microsoft trolls came after me. And so everywhere I went on the web, in terms of technical websites or whatever, they were there and they were attacking me. And I basically wore them out, but because Windows 8 was a failure, and we now have Windows 10 because of what happened with Windows 8. But getting back to what I was saying about women when they come to our table, it is the same type of scenario, and it is the same type of failure that they are experiencing. And this is because the more and more men are red pilling. the more and more men are going MGTOW. They are realizing that the demands of women, first of all, for men to be slaves, for men to be resources, for men to be locked down, for men to be workers in the feminist plantation state, all those types of things, those demands of us, on us, by women, are the same type of situation which happened with Microsoft. It is an epic fail. And it is causing an automatic rejection from our tables. So my MGTOW brothers, again, don't listen to these women when they come and say, we are the table, or they bring nothing to the table but quote unquote peace leave or the offer of sex, because that's illegitimate. And when you hear criticism of your MGTOW lifestyle, my brothers, and when you hear criticism of your red pilling nature, my brothers, just don't listen to it. And just continue on the pathway which takes you to freedom. Because overall, again, our table has that standard of freedom, and that we men will be free no matter what. We MGTOW men will be free no matter what. No matter what these women do, what they say, what they do to us, or whatever, we will be free. And so, therefore, again, if they cannot bring substantial value to our table, like trustworthiness, like willing to submit to us in marriage, like willing to let us lead in marriage, like willing to allow us to be who we are as men, they are rejected. But again, understand the construct of the table when it comes to we as men. Understand that it is not a woman, that it is not something that a woman is the table. It is the table which provides a groundwork or a meeting place so that a woman can present what she has to offer of value. And that is conditional upon if we men want to allow it or not. And lately, I know for myself, I'm just not allowing it. I don't see, again, any benefit to me as a MGTOW man to either cohabitate with or to marry a woman in this day and age. I look around me and I don't see it. And I believe that is not just me, it is millions of men now worldwide would see the same thing. So my MGTOW brothers, again, the best thing for you to do in this day and age is to remain free and to remain on that pathway to freedom. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium short take. Now more than ever, my MGTOW brothers, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.